There are loads of discontinued fragrances out there in the world of perfumery. Don't know the reason why some of these fragrances get discontinued, but it could be because their sales lacked, they did not perform very well, they were flops, or there's a banned ingredient. The price of an ingredient went up so high, it's too expensive to produce a fragrance, but whatever the reason, I've got 15 fragrances here today, 15 approved by me that I really, really love that are discontinued. So find out what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about discontinued fragrances again. I've done a few of these videos, 15 fragrances in each video. This is part 3, and I'll continue doing these videos as long as I have enough to feature in one video, 15 of them, and ones that I have not discussed in a previous video in a similar theme. So the ingredient Lilial got banned, and the fragrance Hermès's fragrance Eau Très Fraîche from the Terre de Hermès collection is discontinued, and we're going to see a lot more discontinuations of fragrances that feature this note. So recently I found out that this is a fragrance I do not own. I have the Forte version from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Aqua Universalis Forte, but an associate over at Neiman Marcus said the original version is discontinued and it's getting reformulated. I never wore that one. I have the Forte, as I said, but they told me the Forte is not discontinued, so I guess maybe it was only in the original version. But Lilial is this like banned now, and so we're going to see a lot of discontinuations with this particular note. But the video today is not necessarily about Lilial fragrances. These are just a general selection of discontinued fragrances. Before I let you know the fragrances though, if this is your first time tuning into my channel and you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So let's get right to it. We're going to start off with the house of GUERLAIN. It's Homme Le Boisee. I always get these two confused. There's two collections of Homme. There's L'Homme Ideal and there's the Homme. But Le Boisee is discontinued. Bummer. So I have a fairly unused bottle here of Le Boisee, and I always felt like Le Boisee in the Homme series was the better of the fragrances in the Homme series. The Le Boisee was a kind of a lightly boozy, fresh, citrusy take on Vetiver, totally different than Guerlain's Vetiver, but sadly this is discontinued. Remember, Guerlain's fragrances in the men's series are now in the bottles that look like the L'Homme Ideal fragrances, and this one didn't make it. At least I didn't see it on the French website, and of course I didn't see it on the USA website. But if you can get your hands on this one, get it. Le Boisee is a fragrance launched in 2012. Features notes of lime, vetiver, woody notes, green grass, mint, geranium, and rum. Very aromatic, very fresh, minty, boozy, green, and definitely earthy woody. So L'Homme Boisee for men, discontinued, is the first fragrance. This is not a rank list, it's just a selection of fragrances I'm going to talk to you about. The next fragrance is from the house of Tom Ford. It's Vanille Fatale. So Vanille Fatale was the fragrance that was completely different than the Tobacco Vanille. Vanille Fatale was more of a floral, creamy, I kind of got a coconutiness from this particular fragrance. I think it was because there's definitely a Frangipani note, which kind of takes on the characteristic of tropical floral touches, and there's definitely a presence here in this particular fragrance. This is unisex. The previous fragrance was men. This came out in 2017. It got discontinued probably around 2020, but it's I really think this is delicious. It's vanilla, barley, suede, myrrh, tobacco, coffee, frangipani, mahogany, rum, olibanum, coriander. But the fragrance is very, very cozy, very smooth, very creamy, delicious vanilla. Maybe this is maybe leaning a little feminine. I think it's delicious. Sadly, it's discontinued. Obviously, Tobacco Vanille is still selling, and I think that's one of their bigger sellers in the Tom Ford Private Blend collection. Moving on to the house of ETRO. It's a house I don't talk about much on the channel. Do you guys know about this house? This is a fragrance I was really, really bragging and raving about for a while, but suddenly it was discontinued throughout the pandemic. No bottles were available. This is how much I have, and I was looking for a bottle and I couldn't find it. This was back in 2020, so I immediately put it away because I really like this particular vetiver fragrance. It's a unisex offering from 1989. Features notes of vetiver, cypress, tobacco, clary sage, cedar, artemisia, petitgrain, amber. It's a little citrusy, it's a little green, definitely vetiver. It's a great vetiver fragrance. It was unique that I really enjoyed, but sadly it's gone. If you can get your hands on one, get it, and if you can find one for me, let me know. This is a great scent. I wish I had a full bottle, but I do not. Moving on to the house of Robert Graham. This is VALOUR. So this is how it is. So this fragrance, along with Fortitude in this house, were both really great. Today I'm only featuring VALOUR. Courage, on the other hand, they launched 3. Courage was my least favorite, created by Alberto Morillas. It smelled similar to a lot of other very mass market designer men's fragrances, but VALOUR and Fortitude were, I felt like, very unique fragrances for designers, kind of taking on characteristics of stuff that designers would not normally release. But VALOUR, between VALOUR and Fortitude, was definitely my favorite. It's amber, sage, and coffee. The amber kind of takes on a fresh characteristic here, and that sage aromatic green, very unique smell. Absolutely love it. Now here's the thing with this one though, I can't find any in the discounters. They're very high priced. I can't find any in department stores, but the Robert Graham's website, last time I checked, did feature this in the large size, and they had these 200 ml bottles and they had the 100. I don't know what the status is. I don't think they're going to be around too long. If you can get yourself a bottle, get it. I think it's a great designer scent, very unique for designer fragrances. Nothing like, you know, the mass market release fragrances. As I said, Courage was the one that I didn't care for whatsoever because I had smelled 100 other fragrances similar to that. But VALOUR, on the other hand, smells so good. Alright, I've got 2 fragrances from the same house back to back here. This is the first one of the 2. This is going to the house of MAISON Margiela. This is Flying. So MAISON Margiela discontinued these higher priced kind of luxury collection of fragrances from the brand. I don't know why. I guess they weren't really performing very well. But Flying was that kind of traditional eau de cologne style, oomphy, beefy take on that kind of style of fragrance. Launched in 2016, it's Neroli, Orange Blossom, Bergamot, Petitgrain, Ozonic notes, Musk, Moss, Almond Blossom, and Ylang-Ylang. It's such a great fragrance, really fresh, very refreshing. These were selling for around $195, so they were definitely higher priced, and they were also eau de parfum concentration, and compared to their regular lineup of the replica, these are replica, their regular lineup of replica fragrances, which are eau de toilette. But all 5 of the fragrances in this collection discontinued. My favorite was Flying, the green one, and also the Love one. I'm forgetting their names now, but Flying, if you can get your hands on it, do get it because it's so good. This next one is also from MAISON Margiela. It's Lipstick On. This is how much I have left. Lipstick On the other hand, is a very iris-forward, lipsticky kind of fragrance. For me, also, this kind of became a gourmand on the dry down. This is a woman's targeted release, but I wore it. I really loved it, and it smelled really great because in the dry down, it reminded me of like a Fève Delicious fragrance, which was really great. This is Iris, Tonka Beans, Heliotrope, Vanilla, Galbanum, Bergamot, Neroli, Orange Blossom, and Patchouli. It was such a great release. This one got discontinued pretty fast. I think around 2019 this was discontinued, or maybe a little later, I can't remember. But it didn't live long, but it's a really solid release that I really enjoyed wearing. It was very cozy, but still powdery iris, and definitely lipsticky, makeup-y. Lipstick On, that's what it's called, from the house of MAISON Margiela. So this next fragrance is a male release. The previous one was a female release. This is from the house of YSL, Yves Saint Laurent. This was a flanker to L'Homme collection of fragrances. This is L'Homme Libre from from 2011. This was a very unique take on L'Homme in that it was very fresh and crisp, and also almost like crisp apples, because it's a violet leaves here. That's what the prominent note is, and this violet leaves has a ozonic touch. It's ozonic smelling, so it kind of takes on the characteristic or starts smelling like apples and cucumbers. It's very fresh and invigorating. Along with the violet leaves, there's pink pepper, there's basil, there's star anise, bergamot, nutmeg, vetiver, patchouli. Now I always felt like this was a little light if I found something a little dirty, because I wanted something ashy like tobacco tobacco. I would layer this with that fragrance. It's hard to find something that's like very minimalistic but like tobacco-ish. It smelled really, really great because it's very fresh here, and as I said, kind of appley, cucumbery, kind of crisp and ozonic. It just needs something a little oomphier, but as a smell by itself, it's also really, really great. It smells great. It's discontinued. It's been discontinued for a while. If you can get your hands on it, do, because it's really, really great. To me, that one also reminds me of Gucci Pour Homme 2, another one that focuses on violet leaves. Violet leaves are a great note for men's fragrances. They take, like I said, it's kind of very fresh and ozonic with kind of appley, cucumbery smell. All right, moving on to the house of Kilian by Kilian's Rose Oud. Sadly, these things are breaking off in my old bottles, so I've got this one kind of taped on. I don't know if that's focused or not. You could see that or not. But this absolutely was one of my favorite fragrances from by Kilian. It had a concentration that lingered on my skin, and it took forever for it to like disappear. And this one also garnered me compliments. Like, I remember one day I went to a travel fair back in like 2013 or 14, and I sprayed a bunch of this on. It was this big hotel conference room, and in there it was like exhibits on travel and things like that, and I knew the woman that was putting that show on, and I kept getting compliments from left and right. I was shocked at how great the compliments were. This is from the Arabian Nights collection, and there were 4 fragrances, and then it became 5 with Musk Oud. But there was Pure Oud, Incense Oud, Amber Oud, and Rose Oud. I had all of them. And this one garnered me compliments like there was no tomorrow. Really, really great. It was launched in 2010, discontinued towards the end of the 2010s. Rose Oud Saffron Gaiac Wood. There is a rumor that this is coming back, or a version of this is coming back under Estee Lauder. I don't know if I really care to sample it, but this without Estee Lauder was one of my favorite fragrances. I'm fortunate to have a 100 ml decanter of this gifted to me. It's so good. It's kept in a dark place, cool, dry. It's a great fragrance. By Kilian's Rose Oud was so good, and lots of compliments. Moving on to the house of L'Occitane, another male targeted release. The previous one was Unisex. This is Eau de Vetiver. This is one of the creamiest vetiver fragrances ever. It smelled great. It also smelled fresh, a little grassy, a little leafy, but there's this kind of creaminess under there that kind of made it for a very cozy wear. It was launched in 2001, and I think it was discontinued around the latter part of maybe 2018, somewhere around there, but a great vetiver fragrance. I was the biggest fan of L'Occitane fragrances in the early 2000s to mid 2000s. I was wearing all of their tea fragrances, Thé Vert Mint, Thé Blanc. I wore their big bad orange blossom fragrance, or Neroli fragrance, and then this was another one that I wore. But it's a great fragrance. Vetiver, cedar, leather, nutmeg, Gaiac wood, bergamot, lemon. And I think it's the Gaiac wood here that kind of takes on a creamy characteristic, and I really love this one. This is all I have left of this one, but I'll have to cherish it as much as I can. Moving on to the House of Mandarina Duck. This is Black Extreme. This is a... oh, there's hardly any left. I have one bottle, but this one's empty, almost. This was created by Nathalie Lorson, just like the original. If you can't get the Extreme, the Black Extreme, you can get the original, the black. But this was a great creation. It reminded me of Uden from the house of Xerjoff, but man, it was so good, so good. Uden is a unisex fragrance. This one is male targeted, but you don't have to be a man to wear this one. You can be a woman to wear it. It's tonka beans, tangerine, bergamot, black pepper, orange blossom, tiara flower, vanilla, sandalwood, and cedar. It was so good, guys, so good. As I said, you can get away with the original Mandarina Duck Black. The Extreme took it to another level, a more luxurious level. Definitely, like I said, Uden is like the fragrance I always felt like this kind of reminded me of. Anyway, Black Extreme from the house of Mandarina Duck. A great fragrance. All right, next up, going to the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is Absolute Pour le Soir. I found out at the height of the pandemic this was discontinued. They had just removed it off of the Maison Francis Kurkdjian website. And if I knew that they were going to remove it off of the website, I would have ordered a couple of backup bottles. Now I'm on the hunt to find a backup bottle of this one, and it's not been a good result yet. This came out in 2009 at the launch of the Maison Francis Kurkdjian brand. This is a unisex fragrance. It's honey, benzoin, incense, sandalwood, rose, ylang-ylang, atlas cedar, and cumin. What does it for me here is that kind of fuzzy, lightly animalic, musky amber experience here with the cumin. It's just superb creation from Francis Kurkdjian, one of my favorite fragrances, and it's sad it's discontinued. I think the brand is kind of going towards mass more, appealing to all kinds of people, and this maybe was a little challenging to wear. And probably for a while it was there at Neiman's, and I know it got removed from Neiman's probably around 2017, and I brought myself a bottle in 2019 or 2018, and then it just got pulled. It's really, really great. It does remind me a little bit of Mitza from the House of Dior and a little bit of Serge Lutens Ambre Sultan. They're not the same, but if you want an alternative, you can. And if I can find a backup bottle of this one, I will be very, very happy. But this is Absolute Pour Le Soir from 2009, sadly discontinued. Now, this fragrance is in this version discontinued, but there is a version of it that's not discontinued, and I'll tell you why. This is from the house of Piotr Zarnecki. It's Sensei. So it's called Shihan now, and it's the middle version of this fragrance that is available. In the Eau de Toilette and in the X-ray version, it's no longer available, but this is the very first time I have ever seen a fragrance like this that's in a one bottle like this. And it's 3 different concentrations. Have you guys seen a fragrance like this? I had gone to Los Angeles to visit family. I went to Lucky Scent to just buy this fragrance because I was obsessed with this bottle. It's a little weird. Now it's just becoming a bottle for me to keep as a kind of a fun thing to look at once in a while. And it's a really, really concentrated fragrance. Even in the Eau de Parfum in the middle here. Eau de Toilette is a little lighter, but still very, very thick. And then the X-ray version is so thick. And as you can see, I've hardly used any of the X-ray. The Eau de Parfum is used a little more, and the Eau de Toilette is used the most. But it's available in the Eau de Parfum version, but this is a great boozy tobacco, dirty, ashy tobacco. From 2013, it's spices, whiskey, coffee, tobacco, myrrh, incense, amber, labdanum, ambrette, musk. So it definitely has musk, plus the ambrette note, which also has its own musky qualities, a little fruity and a little boozy, but it's a very dirty, ashy tobacco experience with the spices, the whiskey, and the coffee. Really, really great. From 2013, it's Piotr Zarnecki Sensei. Have you guys smelled it? And do you have the version called Shihan now? Moving on to the house of Nasomato, it's Hindu Grass. So not a department store, a store owner had told me this was discontinued or was getting discontinued. I still kept seeing it everywhere, so I didn't do anything about it. But later on I was looking for it again. It is no longer available. This one, I was told that the ingredients were very expensive, so that's the reason why this was discontinued. But the way that Nasomato fragrances work are they don't publicize notes, but this launched in 2007, and unpublicized notes, but I get patchouli here, green notes, green grass, and tobacco. It's a patchouli once again. It's a great smelling patchouli, but kind of green and a little absinthe-like. Very earthy and grassy and a little cannabis-like as well. So not only do I get a little bit of absinthe-like qualities and also cannabis-like qualities, but it's very, very patchouli forward. A really great fragrance. It's Hindu Grass from Nasomato, sadly discontinued, but let me know if you have it. All right, a couple of luxury fragrances. The first one from the house of Raja Parfums. It's Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So this Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is one of my favorite fragrances from this house, because it's absolutely delicious and very, very sexy. Super, super sexy. It's unisex and launched in 2017, but it got discontinued. It features oud, strawberry, banana, leather, cotton candy, raspberry, cinnamon, plum, apple, vanilla. You know, it does kind of remind me of a few other fragrances. It reminds me a little bit of Sweetie Oud, but this is its own unique fragrance. Man, it's so good. It is so good. This is how much I have left. Now I have to cherish this one because it smells super, super sexy and super fantastic. I love the way that smells. Raja Parfums, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I think that collection is still in existence, but some of the fragrances are discontinued. And then finally, man, this is such a messed up bottle. Sorry to show you this. This is from the house of Nishane. This is Spice Bazaar. Look at my bottle, and this is how much I have left. So Nishane's fragrances in the bottles were a little not very nice spraying. Upon usage of this fragrance, it kind of this got really bad and it started leaking. So this is all I have left in Spice Bazaar, but I felt like Spice Bazaar was amazing. The cumin note is super fantastic smelling here and absolutely loved it. Launched in 2015, discontinued around 2020, I think. Cumin, yuzu, ginger, cedar, juniper, rosemary, cinnamon, black pepper, saffron, and vanilla. This thing rocks. It's strong, super sexy, very, very musky, sweaty, lots of cumin, but aromatics and citrus to the max. There's definitely lots of zing here as well. There's like a spicy zing that really complements the yuzu and then also the cumin note. Spice Bazaar, that's the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about. Do you guys have a bottle of that one? I'm really looking forward to buying another bottle of that. This is how much I have, and I love this fragrance. Anyway, guys, that's all the fragrances I have for you today. What are your thoughts on these fragrances? Are you a fan of these fragrances? Let me know. Put a comment down. Is there a fragrance you just found out that is a favorite fragrance of yours that's discontinued? Let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out and look into it myself. But other than that, I'll do a couple more of these videos. I'm prepping down the line. I'll do one every month, let me know what your thoughts are on these fragrances. If you have a bottle, if you're looking for a bottle, I'd like to see where everybody's at. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Alright, I have one bonus fragrance. It's the Louis Vuitton fragrance Cactus Garden. So Cactus Garden was not my absolute favorite fragrance, but I wore plenty of it. It features mate, lemongrass, and bergamot. It is definitely discontinued. Last time I asked my Louis Vuitton sales associate. It smells like tea, lemon tea. If you like that idea, well, mate is kind of a tea, so the combination of the lemongrass and the bergamot with the mate has a kind of tea-like quality. But sadly, this, along with Sunsong, got discontinued really quickly. Really quickly. In fact, in 3 years, it was gone. Maybe it just didn't sell. From what I heard from you guys recently, also when I did the video for the floral fragrances by Louis Vuitton, some of you mentioned a few fragrances as well that are discontinued that I wasn't even aware of. I'm gonna have to dig in and to see. But they have a lot of fragrances, and now I see that they're discontinuing them. And perhaps they're not selling, and once again, there's that ingredient that's probably causing these fragrances to go. Maybe that's why, that ingredient that's banned now, that's why this one and Sunsong got discontinued. Who knows? But if you're a fan of this one, let me know. Do you have a backup bottle? Let me know. This is all I have left, and I'll keep it in this closed box. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for another video very soon. Bye bye.